today's video, I'll be discussing the latest news involving Raheem Sterling potentially making his way to London to sign for Chelsea this summer. I'll be talking about more stories involving the likes of your Rabiots, the future surrounding Marcus Alonso, Bastoni news from Inter Milan, you guys, plus a ton more, so I hope you enjoy. Of course, check out the other video I've released today talking about Todd Bowley's summer plans and the 8-man target list that we are monitoring and pursuing for this summer. So I hope you guys enjoy. And please, if you want to do one thing to show your love and support, hit the like button and get involved in the comments as well too. Now for me, every time before I go to bed, my nighttime routine is to read the comments that you guys release before I go to bed. Helps me fall asleep. Didn't really sound as good as what I was trying to say. Bit of a sticky one right now. So, let's just get straight into the first story. Let's talk about the latest news surrounding Raheem Sterling. Now, this news came from Matt Law, and essentially I'm going to give you the story before giving my thoughts and opinions. Knowing that either one or all of Timo Werner, Hakim Ziyech and Pulisic could be leaving the club this summer, this means that, of course, spaces will open up in attack and the wing positions. This leaves an opportunity open now for Raheem Sterling to potentially make a move. Currently, he's undecided with his future at Man City, but what makes him a very interesting prospect is the fact that he only has 1 year left on his existing contract. He does have interest from Tottenham and Arsenal, but compared to the best club in London, the only club in London to win a European Cup, I think it's kind of common sense what his decision is going to be, no? So that is the news out of the way, but right now, I want to give my thoughts and opinions. Do I think Sterling's a bad player? Absolutely not. Of course, he's a player that I got a lot of respect for. You know, last season, Man City using a lot of rotation in their offence. He got very respectable, like 18 goal contributions and like 30 appearances in the Premier League. Well, I think 13 goals, 5 assists as well too, plus other goals in other competitions stretch. I think he got like a goal every 3 games playing for Man City last season. Throughout the Premier League, it's been a very reliable and dependable source of goals. And literally, like I think 2 seasons ago, he had like his best goal return playing under Pep for Man City. So this is a player with over 100 goals, so many caps, so much experience in the biggest games as well too. Someone like him available with 1 year left on his deal means that you could sign him for a relatively affordable price, knowing that you'll have even more money to spend on other positions to fill out the team. So I understand the intelligence, maybe the football reasoning behind this decision, but maybe I might sound dumb to some of you guys. If new owners are coming in, I'm just expecting more marquee names that are going to make you dream a bit more. For me, I want a marquee name that still has potential to grow, and his potential is a bit more uncapped. I look at someone like Raheem Sterling. I don't see him maybe getting better than what he is right now. I think he would be reliable if let's say there's going to be a massive exodus in the attacking positions and you're going to have Sterling alongside someone else. And yes, I think Sterling as part of the squad strengthens the entire squad, makes competition better and makes more sense. But if he's been signed to be one of the marquee guys to help us close the gap with Man City and Liverpool, then I'm sorry, I just don't necessarily see that. Now, I see Sterling as like the upgrade version of Timo Werner. We know that he has really prospered playing in Pep Guardiola's positional play system himself. Sterling finds his starting position is out wide a lot of times, but you constantly find him inside the box. And, he's been a key source of match-winning goals literally throughout his entire career. I could see him making sense in Tuchel's system. Does that necessarily mean that his finishing is like out of this level? No, I think it's good. I don't think it's necessarily like the best, but it is good. And I think it does speak volumes about the, tons of chance creation and quality chances made at Man City, where, their players are constantly able to get into double digits for goals and everything due to that consistency of quality, which we don't necessarily have. Like I said, I might be sounding like a bit silly. I know this, but I just think that we should be a bit more ambitious instead of just going for Raheem Sterling to be that key player and key man to come in this summer. I'm looking at Man City signing Haaland. I'm looking at what the arrival of Diaz did, signing for Liverpool as well too, and I'm seeing the massive point gap difference between where we are on the table compared to where both those teams finished. Then I look at the closest clubs like your Tottenhams, Arsenals, everyone around us, and realise, wow, we're a lot closer to them than we are to the rest. Tottenham announced today they have 150 million to spend in the market due to cash injections for investments. You know, you're looking at United now, who have Ten Hag and will have money to spend to improve the team. Liverpool and Man City are already cooking things as well too. And of course, Arsenal will be in the running as well too to make up for their disappointing end to the season. I think we have to do even better in terms of the players we're looking to bring in to help us try and win the title. And I just don't think that Sterling and his arrival could potentially help us close down enough gaps actually to help us meet our goals. They're my thoughts and opinions currently on him. I've got a lot more, but you don't want to hear me talk about Sterling for like half an hour. But I'm sure we'll hear a lot more surrounding the player as the weeks go on. But what's your thoughts and opinions? Do you think Sterling would be a great signing, or do you have more ambitions for players like Dembele's and others in the market? Let us know below. Right now, let's talk about Marcos Alonso. Today, he was finally given his blessing and permission to leave the club. Now, throughout this entire past month, he's already been holding a lot of conversations with Barcelona, who want to sign him for his versatility and his experience. He's seen as an option that can compete alongside Jordi Alba, as a guy that can play in a back three if they need to, who can play as a defender if they need to as well too. And with 1 year left in his deal, Barcelona are hoping to sign him for under 10 mil to get this deal done. So let's see what happens. It's funny that, you know, literally every summer we've got some good offers for Alonso that were always turned down because they weren't like the 30 million we wanted, the 25 mil, the 20 mil we wanted, the 18 mil we wanted, etc, etc. And then in the end, he's going for absolute peanuts to Barcelona. But of course, he has been a very reliable squad player for us. I definitely feel like my respect for the player has grown over the seasons as I've accepted his limits. I think sometimes as fans, we have to accept what players can do and what they can't do. And I think the things that Alonso can do has been more beneficial than the things that he can't do throughout his entire Chelsea career, if I'm trying to be totally objective. So, you know, good luck to him. And I guess potentially we could be saying good luck and goodbye to Azpilicueta. Now, we know that Tuchel has tried to persuade the player to remain at the club and to stay with us. Aspi is still undecided. He feels that a move to Barcelona could be the best thing for his career at this point in time in terms of the contract being offered by them, which is 11 mil for the year. That is a ton of money, and money that you're probably never going to get at Chelsea. So he has a lot of things to think about at this point in time. But in my opinion, I would not be surprised to see Azpilicueta leaving us, even though Tuchel would be upset because he loses that leadership figure in the squad. So right now, that's the second story out of the way. We move on to the third one, and let's talk about Bastoni from Inter Milan. Now, there have been a ton of Italian reports coming out today talking about Inter Milan potentially having to sell a key player this summer to help balance the books. Now, last summer they were forced to sell Lukaku and Hakimi, with rumours for all their top stars and talents. Inzaghi this season is hoping that it won't be a repeat of last summer, and Inter Milan are comfortable allowing just one marquee player to leave, with that player potentially being Bastoni, as maybe he's a lot easier to help replace in their team compared to players like your Barellas and your Martinez as well too. We do have interest though from Antonio Conte's Tottenham. Now, as I said, they had a 150 million investment injection announced today. Conte was a guy that really gave Bastoni his opportunity and chance at the top level as well too, and he's a player that he absolutely loves. He would be used for that left-hand side, and Conte is hoping he becomes one of the key players Spurs are able to sign during the summer. For me though, I think Bastoni, the argument supporting experience. Now, I spoke about Colwill and Garvideo in a previous video, but the argument for Garvideo is that he has more experience compared to Colwill, even though there's literally a 1 year age gap difference, which is like a few months actually. I think that argument would be stronger if it was used to players like Bastoni, who is like way more mature than Garvideo, like 24 years old, has won a Scudetto, has played in Europe, is playing for the Italian national team as well too, and on paper, literally like seamlessly, just like fills in the spot left by Antonio Rudiger. I'll say I'm a big fan of Bastoni. You guys know I prefer to see Cole still play, but as I'm saying, like I'm not just like an idiot. So if I know the club are destined to sign like a more experienced figure, so be it. I have to accept that. But with Bastoni, I think this guy is pretty special. What I really love about him is just how cultured this guy's left foot is. I mean, when he gets in that final third with the overlap runs, underlap runs, he has such a good cross on him. The type of crosses that centre-backs love. Sometimes when I see Rudiger getting in those positions, outside the box, trying to like put balls in the box, very rarely does he get that right amount of like curl on the ball to really, create an opportunity for a striker to get on the head of. But Bassoni has that quality in his game. He moves that ball very well. His ball progression is excellent. He's very fast, he's physical, and he has very good tactical and defensive positioning and intelligence as well too. I'd be curious to know how much he'd be available for in the window. Of course, it'd be far less than a Lukaku, but is it time to think hypothetical? Could he even potentially include like a Lukaku, Bassoni type of transfer involvement? But to be honest, we never really tend to see moves like that happening throughout the windows. Now, I remember reports from last season of Lukaku being like absolutely like enamored by Bastoni, loves the player, rates him highly, and even like talks him up to the club as well to talk about his credentials and just how good he is. That left hand slot's open right now. We'll see what's going to happen with that position, but I don't think Bastoni is a bad place to start looking in my humble opinion, you guys. So right now, we end things with the final story, and we end in Serie A again as we quickly talk about the news involving Rabiot of Juventus. Now, reports are saying that Juve are offering the player for between 15 mil to 20 mil euros, and once our takeover is expected to be completed, then we will literally hold talks with the club to, consider their proposal and offer. Now, let's not worry too much. It's quite normal in football that tons of clubs, clubs all the time are offering their players to each other. Agents are offering their clients to clubs, etc, etc. Of course, you're going to hold talks. Sometimes it's smart to maintain relationships with agents. If, there's a player on their books that you want to get one day, it would be very stupid to have a bad relationship with that agent. So, I don't believe that Rabiot will sign or he's that type of player. But I'm not dismissing the report as it being something that's been made up and created out of thin air, when I don't think that's necessarily the case. But I don't know, just quickly, I don't think it makes too much sense, number one, to spend that type of money to sign him, to then, pay him 7 mil a year? Because he's currently earning like 7 mil euros a year at Juventus. That's way too much money for a player that doesn't improve us. It would be a sideways move. And I just think that when you have players like Ruben, that type of squad player that I always compare to like your Vasquez's and your Fernandez's that you see at clubs like your Barcelona's and Madrid's. They understand the club and they have the type of quality, but you can always rely upon them in whatever position, and they don't, of course, reduce the quality of the team. We have Ruben. I don't see the need to move him on to then spend even more money to sign someone who's not as good as him. So, interesting report. Midfield options are the ones. I'm hearing things about Sangare of PSV, so once I have some more information, I'm going to do a story on that, you guys. But I'm assuming now that Tchouameni came out today that he'll be signing for Real Madrid. Of course, I'm really pissed off, especially knowing that Saul, the most obvious flop of all time, was signed in place of him for absolutely no reason. I'm sorry, this arrogance we have sometimes where we have to, players have to prove themselves to play for us. If you can't see Tchouameni from 2 seasons ago was literally set to be the midfield player in Europe, then I don't know who some of these guys are at this club. I've got to keep things real if you're missing something that big. So we're a club that we have to take advantage of opportunities. If clubs like your Liverpools or your Barcelonas and Madrids and stuff come in for a player that we also want as well too, the chances of that player winning us over those other clubs aren't as high, and that's something I accept. So I'm hoping under Bowley and his new management, these types of silly structural mistakes just don't happen again. So on that note, I'm going to wrap things up, keep things moving. Thank you for watching. I'm the EFC, this is Blue Lines TV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.